Look, I've been hauling cargo through the Orion Arm for 15 years, and I thought I'd seen everything. Sentient gas clouds trying to unionize. A Vraxian attempting to pay me in what turned out to be very illegal spores. That one time a shipment of, definitely not weapons, turned into actual weapons and tried to shoot their way out of my cargo hold. Standard stuff. But the universe always has one more surprise, doesn't it? Always one more kick in the teeth waiting around the corner, usually on a Tuesday. Kepri 7's Bazaar was the usual circus of questionable life choices. The trading station orbited a planet nobody wanted, which made it perfect for people selling things nobody should have. Neon signs flickered in 17 languages I couldn't read and 3 I wished I couldn't. The air recyclers were losing their battle against the combined smell of exotic foods, exotic body odors, and exotic narcotics. Paradise, really. I was there for parts. My ship, the Nightingale, though everyone called her the cosmic dumpster behind my back, needed new plasma regulators. Again. She ate those things like candy. I was navigating through the crowd, dodging a Quellan merchant who definitely wanted to talk to me about an exciting investment opportunity, when I heard it. High-pitched. Desperate. Trying very hard to sound confident and failing spectacularly. Premium merchandise here. Genuine Earth collectibles. Very rare. Very valuable. I shouldn't have looked. Every instinct screamed at me to keep walking. Those instincts had kept me alive through 2 trade wars and one very awkward misunderstanding with a galactic health inspector. I looked anyway. Sitting on a threadbare piece of tarp, surrounded by what could generously be called junk, was a dragon hatchling. Now, when I say dragon, I mean actual dragon. Scaled, winged, the whole mythological package that Earth somehow got right despite never actually meeting one. The Drake species, they called themselves. Proud warrior race, ancient traditions, entire clan structures built around honor and fire-breathing competitions. Very serious people. Or, very serious reptiles. This particular dragon was about the size of a house cat, if that house cat had been through a wood chipper and several existential crises. His scales, which should have been gleaming crimson or gold or some other impressive color, were dull brown, flaking at the edges. One wing had a tear in the membrane that made my own shoulder ache in sympathy. His eyes were too big for his face, giving him that unfortunate baby animal look that evolution designed specifically to ruin my day. He was holding up a 3-legged action figure like it was the crown jewels. You, human. Yes, you with the face. You look like discerning customer. His voice cracked on discerning. He couldn't have been more than 4 months old. Maybe 5. I should have walked away. I had parts to buy. A schedule to keep. A very strict personal policy about not getting involved in things that weren't my problem. Kid, that toy is missing a leg, I said, already breaking my first rule, don't engage. Is feature, not flaw, he shot back, tiny claws gripping the plastic warrior. Action figure experienced glorious battle. Lost leg heroically. Very authentic. Adds character. Only 15 credits. 15 credits. For a broken toy that probably came out of a trash compactor. The kid had moxie, I'd give him that. Where are your parents? Wrong question. I watched something shudder behind those 2 big eyes. Parents very busy. Important dragon business. I am handling family commerce today. Very independent. Very successful businessman. He gestured to his collection of garbage with what might have been pride or might have been the last shreds of dignity. Perhaps you interested in this data pad? Screen only cracked in 3 places. Very aerodynamic design now. Right. Another Tuesday in space. I tried to walk away. I genuinely did. Made it maybe 4 steps before something made me stop. Maybe it was the way his tail curled around his merchandise protectively. Maybe it was how his stomach visibly rumbled, scales rippling with the sound. Maybe it was because I recognized the particular flavor of his lies. The kind people tell when the truth is too heavy to carry. I turned back around. When's the last time you ate, kid? This morning. Big breakfast. Very nutritious. His tail twitched. Drake's tails don't lie as well as their mouths do. Try again. The little dragon's snout lifted in defiance. Am not charity case. AM merchant. You buy something or you go away. Those are options. I crouched down, my knees popping in protest. Getting old was its own special adventure. What's your name? He hesitated, probably running through whatever story he'd prepared. Then, maybe because I was at eye level or maybe because he was just too tired to keep lying, he said, Ember. All right, Ember. I'm Marcus. And I'm going to ask you one more time. Where is your family? The silence stretched. Around us, the bazaar continued its chaotic symphony. Someone was arguing about tariffs in Galactic Standard. A food vendor shouted about fresh zikwa on a stick, whatever that was. The station's PA system crackled with an announcement nobody could understand. Ember's claws tightened on his three-legged action figure. Gone, he finally said, so quietly I almost missed it. Then louder, with that false brightness that broke something in my chest. But is fine. I have merchandise. I have business plan. Very successful. Next week, maybe I rent actual stall. Week after, maybe small shop. AM doing very well, actually. And that's when I knew. This kid wasn't just alone. He'd been abandoned. Another Tuesday in space, indeed. The station's food court sold what they optimistically called coffee. It was brown. It was hot. It tasted like someone had filtered it through a sock that had seen better decades. I bought 2 cups anyway because apparently I hated myself. Ember perched on the plasteel bench across from me, tail wrapped around his precious bag of broken toys, eyeing the cup I'd slid toward him with suspicion. Is poison? He asked. Kid, if I wanted to poison you, I wouldn't waste good credits on coffee to do it. I took a sip of my own and immediately regretted every decision that had led me to this moment. Also, this might actually be poison. Jury's still out. He didn't touch the cup. Smart kid. So, I said, leaning back, let's talk about this very successful business of yours. How long have you been running this operation? Is private information. Trade secret. Humor me. His claws tapped against the table. 2 months. 8 days. Approximately. 2 months. This baby dragon had been living on the street for 2 months. Fantastic. Great. Love that for him. And your family just left you here to pursue your entrepreneurial dreams? Was mutual decision. Very amicable. The lie was so bad it was almost insulting. Clan needed to move on. I needed to establish business. Everyone happy with arrangement. I'd heard better stories from drunk Quellan traders. Right. And they just happened to leave you in a bazaar with no credits, no food, and a collection of trash. Is not trash. His voice went sharp, defensive. Is inventory. Carefully curated merchandise. Kid, that action figure is missing a leg and half its paint. Found him in recycling unit on level 7. Cleaned him up. He has value. You pulled it out of the garbage. One being's garbage is another being's profit opportunity. He lifted his snout, trying for dignity. It might have worked if his stomach hadn't chosen that moment to growl again, louder this time. I pinched the bridge of my nose. When did you last eat? And don't give me that breakfast nonsense again. Silence. Ember. Yesterday. Maybe. There was half a protein bar near the loading docks. Very filling. Sweet, merciful stars. You've been eating garbage too. Found food is still food. AM very resourceful. Survival skills excellent. His wings, tattered as they were, spread slightly. Pride, or maybe just reflex. Drakes are strong. We endure. You're 4 months old. 5 months, he corrected, like that made it better. Almost adult. I wanted to laugh. Or cry. Maybe both. Why did they really leave you? The wings folded tight against his back. When he spoke again, his voice was smaller. Was runt. Of clutch. Smallest egg, smallest hatchling. Weak fire breath. He demonstrated, producing a tiny puff of smoke that barely counted as warm air. Clan elders said was bad omen. Wrong colors. Wrong size. Wrong everything. So they dumped you. They gave me choice, he said quickly. Too quickly. Could go to youth center. Very nice facility, they said. But youth centers are for hatchlings who need help. I did not need help. So I chose independence. Chose business. Chose freedom. Translation: they'd given a 5-month-old baby the illusion of choice, probably to make themselves feel better, then abandoned him the second he didn't pick the option that required them to feel guilty. I'd met a lot of terrible people in space. Apparently, terrible dragons were also on the menu. The station authorities know about this? Ember's laugh was bitter, way too bitter for someone his age. Went to security. Week 1. They said was family matter. Drake's clan business. Not station jurisdiction. Needed Form 7743, B signed by clan elder to file official complaint. But clan elder was one who left me, so. He shrugged, a very human gesture he'd probably picked up from watching the crowds. No form. No help. Very efficient bureaucracy. Of course. Why would I expect anything different? The Galactic Union had forms for everything except actual problems. I stared at this tiny dragon, all scales and desperation and false confidence, defending his pile of literal garbage like it was a kingdom. 2 months alone. 2 months of scrounging and starving and lying to himself that this was fine, this was the plan, this was freedom. Not my problem, the rational part of my brain said. You haul cargo. You mind your business. You don't pick up strays, especially not reptilian ones with family trauma and bureaucratic nightmares attached. But the other part of my brain, the stupid part that had gotten me in trouble before, was already doing math. The Nightingale had extra space. I already bought food in bulk because station prices were robbery. One more mouth to feed wouldn't break me. One small dragon didn't take up much room. Not my problem, I told myself again. Ember was carefully repacking his toys, movements precise, like each broken piece mattered. Like they were all he had. Because they were. Definitely my problem now. All right, I heard myself say. Here's what's going to happen. You're coming with me. Ember's head snapped up so fast I heard his neck pop. What? My ship. You. We're leaving. Pack your stuff. I gestured at the bag of toys. His eyes narrowed. Street-smart suspicion, the kind kids learn when adults stop being trustworthy. Why? Because I need a business partner, obviously. You're clearly a skilled merchant. AM not charity case. Good, because I'm not a charity. I crossed my arms. I'm a businessman making a business proposition. I need someone to manage inventory, handle small repairs, keep the ship organized. You need a place to conduct your obviously thriving enterprise. Mutually beneficial arrangement. He didn't buy it for a second. Humans do not need dragon hatchlings for inventory. This human does. I'm very particular. You are lying. Kid, I've been lying professionally for 15 years. You've been doing it for 2 months. We are not the same. I pulled out my credit chip. Tell you what. I'll buy your entire inventory. All of it. Fair market price. That got his attention. All. Every broken toy, every cracked datapad, the whole collection. Name your price. His claws twitched. I could see him calculating, trying to figure out the angle, the trap. Finally, he said, 200 credits. It was worth maybe 10. Deal. I transferred the credits before he could second-guess himself. His wrist pad chimed. He stared at it like I'd just handed him the secrets of the universe. Now pack up, I said. We've got a ship to catch. 20 minutes later, we were standing in the Nightingale's cargo bay. Ember's entire worldly possessions fit in one small bag. He turned in a slow circle, taking in the organized chaos of my ship. She wasn't pretty, but she was mine. Mostly functional. Only leaked atmosphere on Tuesdays. Is small, Ember observed. She's cozy. There's a difference. I led him through the corridors. Galleys here. Bathroom there. Don't touch the engine room unless something's actively on fire, and even then, maybe don't. And this, I opened the door to what had been a storage closet, is your room. I'd spent the walk back shoving boxes into other corners. There was space for a small cot, a storage unit, Maybe a shelf if we got creative. Ember stepped inside. His tail dragged across the floor. Is mine? Yeah, kid. It's yours. He didn't say anything. Just stood there, claws flexing, looking at the empty space like it might disappear. Dinner was an adventure in cross-species confusion. Turns out dragons are carnivores. Obligate carnivores. My reconstituted vegetable stew did not impress. Is green, Ember said, poking it with a claw. Very observant. It's also edible. Technically. Where is meat? I've got protein bars somewhere. I rummaged through cabinets. They're meat-flavored. Probably. We settled on the protein bars and some questionable jerky I'd been saving for emergencies. Ember ate like he was afraid someone would take it away. Quick, desperate bites, eyes darting. Slow down. There's more if you want it. He didn't slow down. After dinner, I showed him how the cot worked, found a blanket that wasn't too scratchy. He clutched his bag of toys like a lifeline. You can put those on the shelf, I said. Display them properly. Successful merchants have proper displays. He arranged them carefully. The three-legged action figure got pride of place. Marcus. His voice was small in the dim light. Yeah. Why you doing this? Real reason. I leaned against the doorframe, suddenly tired. Because nobody should be alone like that. Especially not kids. He was quiet for a moment. Then, am not child. Am 5 months. Sure, kid. Ancient. Get some sleep. I was halfway down the corridor when I heard it. A sound I'd never heard before, something between a purr and a sigh. Content, maybe. Safe. I stood there in my ship, listening to a baby dragon settle into sleep in what used to be my storage closet, and thought, what have I done? The nightingale hummed around me, stars sliding past the viewports. What had I done indeed? The first week was a disaster held together with duct tape and stubborn refusal to admit mistakes. Turns out, living with a dragon hatchling is not covered in any cargo hauler manual. Who knew? Day 3, I found Ember trying to sleep in the cargo hold instead of his room. Too soft, he explained, curled up on the metal floor. Drakes sleep on stone. Build strong scales. Kid, you'll build a strong backache. That's what you'll build. We compromised with a heated mat under his blanket. He complained for 2 days, then stopped mentioning it. I noticed he stopped waking up with a crick in his neck too. The ship maintenance thing, though, that actually worked. Those tiny claws could reach spaces my human hands had no business accessing. Plasma conduit acting up? Ember could squeeze into the maintenance shaft. Loose wire behind the NAV panel? Dragon hatchling deployed. Little to the left, I called out, watching his tail disappear into the wall. Am not finding anything, his muffled voice came back. Other left. Humans have 2 lefts. Apparently you need them when you're this bad at directions. A small gout of flame shot out of the access panel. Not much, barely enough to singe, but it did the job on the wire he'd been trying to reach. Found it, Ember announced proudly, wriggling backwards out of the wall. You used fire breath on my electrical system. Fixed problem very efficiently. I couldn't even argue. The conduit was purring like a kitten. A functional, non-exploding kitten. Cultural misunderstandings were their own special entertainment. Drake apparently had 17 different words for honor debts and 0 words for thank you. The concept genuinely baffled him. Why say thank you? Ember asked after I'd explained it for the 3rd time. If action requires gratitude, was not true gift. Was transaction. It's just polite, kid. Politeness is weakness. Shows soft underbelly to enemies. I'm not your enemy. I'm the guy feeding you. Exactly. Is transaction. You provide food, I provide labor. No gratitude required. I gave up and just accepted the grateful tail wags he didn't realize he was doing. The nightmares started the 2nd week. I'd wake to sounds of distress, small whimpers that turned into frightened chirps. First time it happened, I stood outside his door for 5 minutes like an idiot, trying to figure out what to do. Knocking seemed stupid. He was asleep. Also possibly being chased by Nightmare Clan elders or whatever dragon babies dreamed about. I opened the door. Ember was tangled in his blanket, wings twitching, making sounds that hurt to hear. Small, scared sounds. "Hey," I said quietly, sitting on the edge of his cot. "Hey, kid. You're okay. You're safe." He jerked awake, eyes wide, disoriented. For a second, he didn't know where he was. Then he saw me, and something in his expression crumbled. "Was just dream," he said quickly. "Am fine. Very brave. No problems." "Yeah, I can see that. Budge over." I ended up sitting there, one hand on his back between his wings, until he fell back asleep. Happened 4 more times that week. I stopped waiting for permission and just showed up. We didn't talk about it during the day. Drake's pride, human awkwardness, take your pick. The toy situation became a thing. His collection had grown, salvaged from every port we stopped at. Broken robots, cracked data crystals, a stuffed Quellan that had seen better centuries. "You know we have limited space, right?" I said, watching him arrange a 3-eyed doll missing 2 eyes. "Is important inventory. It's junk." His wings flared. "Is mine." Something in how he said it made me stop. These weren't just toys. They were proof. Proof he could find things, fix things, build something from nothing. Proof he had value. I spent the next day building a proper shelving unit in his room. Real wood, actual craftsmanship. Ember watched from the doorway, silent. "There," I said, finishing the last bracket. "Now your inventory has a proper display. Professional." He ran one claw over the smooth surface. "Made this for toys?" "Made it for you, kid." He didn't thank me. Drakes don't do that. But he very carefully arranged every single item, adjusting positions until they were perfect. The first real laugh happened during a cargo mishap on week 3. I was maneuvering a container of Altarian silk, very expensive, very delicate, when the anti-grav failed. The container dropped. I lunged. Ember lunged. We both missed. The container hit the deck and exploded in a fountain of shimmering fabric that immediately attached itself to everything via static charge. I ended up wrapped head to toe in electric blue silk, stumbling around like a very expensive mummy. Ember was trying to help, which meant he was also covered, tiny dragon burrito of luxury fabric, both of us yelling instructions the other couldn't hear. Then I tripped over him. We went down in a tangle of limbs, wings, and about 6,000 credits worth of silk. And Ember laughed. Not a polite chuckle. A full, genuine, hiccuping laugh that shook his whole small body. I started laughing too. Couldn't help it. We lay there in our silk cocoons, laughing like idiots, and something shifted. Something clicked into place. "This is home," I told him later, after we'd cleaned up the cargo bay and accepted that we were eating the cost on that silk. "You get that, right? This isn't temporary. You're not inventory. You're family." "Do not understand family," Ember said quietly. "Clan is clan. Is duty, honor, obligation. Family is choice. It's choosing to care about someone even when they drive you crazy. Especially then. Humans are very confusing. Yeah, we're a mess. But you're stuck with this one." His tail curled around my ankle. Perhaps is acceptable arrangement. At various ports, reactions varied. A Vraxian dockworker asked if I was running an exotic pet operation. I told him Ember was my business partner and watched the guy's brain try to process that. A kind Quellan grandmother at New Terra offered unsolicited parenting advice. Dragon babies need high calcium. 4 scales. Also, more hugs. Emotional development. "I'm not his parent," I said automatically. She looked at Ember, who was helping me inventory cargo with serious concentration, and smiled. "Of course not, dear." An old spacer I knew from the trade routes took one look at us and laughed. "Marcus Chen, you soft-hearted fool. Never thought I'd see the day." "Shut up, Ramirez. He's good for you. Makes you less of a grouch." Ember beamed at that. "Am very improving influence." Maybe they were right. Maybe I was a soft-hearted fool. But watching Ember fall asleep each night, safe and fed and surrounded by his precious junk, I thought there were worse things to be. We were docked at Frontier Station Delta, routine fuel stop, when Ember saw the ship. I was running pre-flight checks. He was supposed to be organizing the galley. Instead, I heard a sound I'd never heard from him before. Something between a whimper and a hiss, pure panic compressed into one breath. I found him pressed into the corner behind the cargo netting, scales gone pale, shaking. "Ember, what?" "Clan ship," he choked out. "Crimson Banner Clan. That is their ship. Marcus, they are here." I looked out the viewport. Sure enough, a Drake's vessel, all ceremonial markings and aggressive architecture. Beautiful, if you liked your ships designed to intimidate. "Stay here," I said. "Where you going?" "To have a conversation." I'd made it maybe halfway across the docking bay when they found me. 3 adult drakes, scales gleaming red and gold, wings properly majestic. They moved like predators, like people used to being obeyed. The leader, some clan elder with more ceremonial scars than sense, looked down at me. "Human. We seek defective hatchling. Brown scales, damaged wing. Sensor readings indicate presence on your vessel. Defective. Like Ember was a broken appliance." "Not sure what you're talking about," I said flatly. "Do not lie. The runt belongs to Crimson Banner Clan. We have claim. You will surrender him immediately." Something cold and furious settled in my chest. "Let me get this straight. You abandoned a 5-month-old child on a trading station, left him to starve, and now you want him back? That about cover it." The elder's eyes narrowed. "Clan business. Not concern of human. He's on my ship. That makes him my concern. Hatchling is clan property. He's a kid, you overgrown gecko. Not property." I heard a gasp from the other drakes. "Apparently you don't insult clan elders." Tragic. The elder took a step forward, smoke curling from his nostrils. "You challenge Drake's tradition? Our laws are older than your species." "Yeah. Well, my laws say you don't get to throw away kids and then demand them back when it's convenient. Funny how that works. He is defective. Weak. Wrong-colored. He brings shame to. He's my dad." We all turned. Ember stood at the entrance to my ship, small and shaking but with his wings spread, his chin up. He looked terrified. He looked brave. He walked forward, stopped right next to me. "Marcus is my dad. This is my home. I am not going with you." The elder laughed, sharp and cruel. "Hatchling cannot choose. Clan decides." "Galactic adoption statutes say otherwise," I said. Article 47, Section 12. Any sentient being can be legally adopted across species lines with proper documentation and consent. I filed the paperwork 3 weeks ago. Ember consented. Your clan abandoned all legal claim when you dumped him. I'd done my homework. Spent 2 very boring evenings reading galactic family law. Worth every second. The elder's expression went dangerous. Human laws do not supersede dragon tradition. "But they do supersede dragon tradition on Galactic Union stations," a new voice said. "Station security." A tired-looking Quellan officer with a datapad and the expression of someone done with everyone's nonsense. "The human filed proper adoption papers," she said. "Form 7743, B, ironically. Signed, notarized, approved. The hatchling is legally his dependent. Unless you want to file a custody challenge and spend the next 6 months in arbitration court, I suggest you move along." The elder stared at me. At Ember. At the security officer who clearly wanted us all to go away. "This is not finished," he finally said. "Yeah, it is," I replied. "He's not yours anymore. He's mine." The Crimson Banner Clan left with all the dignity they could muster, which wasn't much. The security officer gave me a look that might have been approval or might have been exhaustion. "Keep better track of your kid," she said, walking away. I looked down at Ember. He was still shaking, but his wings were still spread. Defiant to the end. "You called me Dad," I said. Was heat of moment. Very emotional. Perhaps inaccurate terminology. I put my hand on his head, between his horns. "It's accurate, kid." His tail wrapped around my leg. "Okay, Dad. Yeah, okay. The nightingale hummed quietly as we left Frontier Station Delta behind. Ember sat in the co-pilot seat, unusually quiet, claws tracing patterns on the armrest. "You okay?" I asked. "Processing," he said. "Very much information. Very much feelings." "Yeah, I get that." We sat in comfortable silence for a while, stars streaking past. Then Ember said, "You filed papers. 3 weeks ago. Before today." "Yeah. Before you knew Clan would come back. Didn't matter if they came back or not. You were staying either way." I glanced at him. "If you wanted to, do you want to make this permanent?" He turned to look at me, those two big eyes shining. "Permanent means forever? Means you're stuck with me. Legally, officially, all the paperwork in triplicate. And you are stuck with me? Defective dragon with wrong colors and bad fire breath. Kid, you're not defective. You're just you. And yeah, I'm stuck with you. Wouldn't have it any other way." The sound that came from him was new. Deep, rumbling, content. A purr that vibrated through his whole small body. "Yes," he said. "Want permanent. Want family. Want home. Then it's done." I filed the final adoption papers that evening. Made it official in every database that mattered. Ember watched over my shoulder, tail swishing with excitement. His room had changed over the weeks. The shelves I'd built were full now, toys arranged with pride. He'd hung up drawings, ones he'd made of the ship, of stars, of us. A blanket the Quellan grandmother had given him was draped over his cot. It looked lived in. It looked loved. "Is good room," Ember said, standing in the doorway with me. "Yeah, it is." "Is home." "Yeah, kid. It is." Look, I started this story saying I'd seen everything. That the universe had run out of surprises. I was wrong, obviously. The universe always has one more trick, one more twist, one more abandoned dragon baby selling broken toys in a bazaar. But here's the thing about finding family in strange places. Sometimes the universe doesn't kick you in the teeth. Sometimes it kicks you in the heart instead. And sometimes, just sometimes, you're better for it. Ember fell asleep that night surrounded by his treasures, safe and warm and home. I stood in the doorway watching him, this tiny dragon who decided I was worth trusting, and thought about how one choice, one moment of not walking away, had changed everything. Another Tuesday in space. But better. So much better.